Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at making the traditional moss hanging basket from scratch. We'll also talk about other baskets, but as we're getting towards the Easter holidays now, obviously everybody's been locked inside for a couple of weeks. You're probably going mad. If you're not, you'll be looking for things to do. So obviously you're thinking we'll get our hanging basket made. It is a little bit cold out there. It's quite nice weather at the minute, but all it takes is that wind to turn around and we could have, cold nights again. So if you are making your hanging baskets this weekend or next week, then just think about putting it in somewhere at night, just to put it into shelter. So if you haven't got a greenhouse or a conservatory, maybe use a garage, and then bring it out during the day. Okay. Now then, there's lots of different ways to make hanging baskets. We have a vast range of hanging basket plants at the moment. They're just coming ready. We grow them all. If you saw the other video, it explains that we grow them all from cuttings, like this. So these are all cuttings that are then potted on to form the final plants that we'll be using today. I'm showing you a couple of these because we're not going to use the plants in the basket today, but these are two plants that really are fantastic. So the first one, I don't know if you can zoom in on that one, but this is called Twister Blue. This is a verbena. It's got a two-tone lilac and white flower. It's fantastic to put in the middle of a basket and it will splurt through. But the plants haven't got any colour on them, so I thought today we'd use something else. But that's a nice one, so remember that, verbena Twister Blue. Another nice one is the new bid ends called Hawaiian Flower. This is actually a variety of Hawaiian Flower called Cheerio. This is a nice reddy orange with a yellow centre. This again will just splurt through the centre of the basket, so you plant that with a centrepiece and that will flower beautifully all summer. So, hanging baskets. I've been making these since I was about 12 years old when my mum taught me how to do it, and we've grown the business and we do thousands of refills every year. If you are one of our existing customers, we will be giving you a ring to tell you about how you can either drop your basket off contactlessly or we can collect it and get it filled. Alright, so we are still in business doing the baskets. So, if you want to try it at home, you're going to need a wire basket. Okay, these are fairly cheap to buy, usually about £2 to £3. A lot of people look at that and think, oh God, how am I going to line it? So, you can, if you don't want to try the moss that we're going to use these fabric liners here. Or there's rigid liners. Now these don't look particularly aesthetically pleasing, but they do the job. They just sit in, your compost goes in, they're already pre-slitted so you can put your plants through the sides and then you can build up. This is a 12-inch and that's a 14-inch basket, so obviously it doesn't fit exactly. So, these basket liners start from about £1.49 and work upwards, okay? I don't like those particularly, much prefer moss. So we use this moss, this is Welsh Moss. It's all sustainably farmed, okay? It's usually from the Duke of Wales estate. Now this will retain moisture, it'll form a perfect lining for the basket. And it'll, well, one thing that you'll find in the autumn if your basket's still hanging up, it's perfect for the birds as well because they love to form the nests. In fact, when we were making them last year, we had robins jumping on our shoulders and pecking at the moss to form the nests. So, we get the moss. The Sphagnum Moss from Wales is a lot nicer to work with because it's, as you can see, it sort of forms a wall already. It's not bitty. So this moss lines the base of the basket. So you work out where you want your first layer of plants to go. I want mine to be halfway up because I want the sides to be full. Some people like to just plant the top, that's fine. But it is nice to have the sides as well, especially if the basket's hanging high so you're looking up at it, so you're not just looking up at the moss. Okay. So, as you can see, we're just firming this. It's almost like building a bird's nest, basically. There we go. So as you can see, it's lined. One way, the test to make sure you've lined it properly is to hold it up and make sure you can't see any light coming through. When that's lined, you then need a liner to go inside. Now the Victorians used to use an old terracotta saucer. You could use one of them or a plastic saucer. Or if you've nothing else, a piece of carrier bag or a bit of compost bag, put it out into a rough circle and that will sit into the base. as you can see. That holds it all together. Now we need to put the compost in. So, loads of different composts out there, multi-purpose, the grow wise that we sell. There's Jack's Magic, there's multi-purpose Johnny. It's all good composts, but you'll find that if you're doing hanging baskets, they're going to dry out. So you want something to retain moisture in there, and you want something to prolong the feeding. Okay, we'll talk about feeding later. So there is one, Westland Do, which is a very, very good one. We use it a lot, and that's this one. So that is your container, easy container compost, and that's got everything you need. It's got the wetting agent, it's got the long-term fertiliser, and it's got a short-term fertiliser to get it moving as well. Alright, so that's the one we're going to use for this demonstration. Right, we'll bob a bit in. Break it up. Westland used to do something called planted magic, which was fantastic. It was like little clay granules with extra feed, with seaweed, but it didn't sell for some reason, so they stopped doing it. But now that's incorporated in this compost, so it is a really good compost to get. So, the compost goes just up to where you've lined the moss, and then it's time for your first layer of plants. So a 14-inch basket, we do a lot of 12s, 14s, 16s, 18s, and they all require different patterns. We've been doing it that long, we sort of know what works. So to do a 14-inch, which is a sort of middle of the road basket, we use Busy Lizzies in patterns. There's no flower on them yet because it is early. These are a lovely salmony pink. We're going to put 3 of those and we're going to intersperse it with this trailing Lobelia. Okay, this is a dark blue Laguna trailing Lobelia. It will flower all summer, it will hang down about 18 inches and then curl back up, and it gives you that real cottagey look. So it's the salmon against the blue repeated for impact around the sides. So we'll bob those in. So if you've got a basket that's got very narrow gaps in the centre, then you need to wrap the head of the plant in a piece of plastic and feed it through. On this occasion we don't need to because it's quite a wide hole. So these 3 go in. Intersperse because we're going to put the Busy Lizzies in between. So this is your hybrid trailing Lobelia. If you were making a 12-inch basket, which is smaller, it wouldn't be able to take 3 of those. They'd crowd themselves out. You would use something like that, which is trailing Lobelia in packs. These are $2.99 or part of the 4 for 10 deal. Get 12 plants in a pack, and there's blue trailing Lobelia, white trailing Lobelia, mixed, red, any colour you want. Goes well with the Busy Lizzies around the sides. Busy Lizzies are always pinks or whites. Okay, so we've got those 3 in. Now it's time to bob the Busy Lizzies in. Again, we're just going to feed that through. Don't worry about any soil dropping out, it's all has to be sorted at the end. Okay. It's good to work on a pot or something like that. Obviously gets the height up so you don't hurt your back, and also allows you to spin the basket easily. Okay, so they're all in, evenly spaced, as you can see. And now we need to build up the next layer of moss to the top. Okay. Again, when you're using the moss, just firm it in the palm of your hand. And then tuck it over the plant, over the neck of the plant that you've already got. Right there. And we're working to about 1 centimetre above the rim of the basket. Because if you work level with the rim of the basket, then when you're firming your plants in later, the whole thing will just push through the wire. So let's keep that just slightly above. Also, if you keep it above, you're making your basket deeper, which is obviously better for root growth. So we'll push that through. This just takes a second. Okay. While I'm doing this, it's a good time to mention that again this week, last week we gave 4 planters away to people that were chosen at random who were helping fight this virus and keeping us all safe. I think there was nurses among them, and so they all had their planters delivered on Saturday morning by my wife Harriet, and the same will be happening again this week. Again, we want you to go on Facebook or Instagram and nominate who you think is worthy, some key worker, frontline workers that are helping us at this terrible time, keeping us safe. So if we can give them a bit of a smile on the way to work, that's one way of giving them something back. So we will be giving them different things every week. Again, it's another planter this week, and I think the week after that's going to be herb planters, and then we'll be getting into baskets for them. So keep nominating. I think we had about 400 nominations, so the support's been fantastic. A little word about the nursery as well. We're obviously delivering for free. That's going really well, but it's also extremely challenging at the minute. So do bear with us if you're not getting through. We know the phone lines are ridiculously busy. Text the mobile number and we will try and get back to you. And we're trying to get stuff delivered as soon as we can, but as you can imagine, with limited staff, it's a challenge, but we're getting there. Okay, right, we've now finished the top of the basket. So as you can see, the basket's lined about a centimetre above the rim. The plants are in, push them down slightly, and then it's time to water them in. I'm not going to water this one in simply because Ben's camera might get destroyed. But what I'm going to do is just show you what we would water it in with. So this is Chempact number 4. I've talked about this in other videos. Very high in potash. It's a 15-15-30 ratio, so it's 15 for growing, 15 for roots, and 30 for flowering and fruiting. So we'd water this in, the plants in with this, and then they get this every week. And they really will put a show on for you. If you were using regular multi-purpose compost, I'd advise you use some of this. This is the Westland Water Saving Gel. It's about $4.99. It'll do a lot of baskets. You put a couple of scoops in a basket, those granules swell up and retain moisture. If you're using this compost that we described before, the Easy Container, Westland Easy Container Compost, you don't need it because it's in there anyway. Okay? But you still need the feed because it's got, although the container compost has got like a stronger and longer term feed, this high potash will really give them the boost they need. So that's Chempact number 4. Okie dokie. So then once we've watered that first layer in, we're then going to put some more compost in. And then we're going to get the top done. Now these baskets will give you colour right through to October. They are fantastic. The trick with a basket is knowing what plant to put where, which combinations to use, so we can help you with that. We will be putting a few ideas out there on the website, and the web shop will hopefully be up and running by the end of this week with as many products as we've managed to get pictures of and get on there. If you don't see what you want on the web shop, by all means just ring us up, because I imagine we've still got it, but it's just not had a picture taken. Right. Okay, so the basket, don't overfill it. It wants to be slightly lower than the rim, so you're going to save some water when you're watering. Now, what do we put in these top of the baskets? There's loads of options, and they'll all be online on the web shop. But what I'd recommend is, first of all, a nice pelargonium. This beautiful pink, this is classic pink rose. This goes in the centre, but we're not putting it dead centre, we're going to put it just off centre. Push that in. That goes off centre because next to it we want something to splurt through the whole basket. We talked about the verbenas and the bid ends before. On this occasion I'm going to use this one, which is Bid Ends Solar Star. This is like a compact bid ends. There is an old-fashioned bid ends out there. We don't grow it anymore because it goes like a weed, and to be honest it's just too rampant. So this one's lovely, it sort of behaves itself. That's going to sit in the basket there next to the geranium and splurt through and give you colour right through the summer. Now then. Okay, so the bid ends is in, the centrepiece, the pelargonium's in. Now what we do is we form a triangle on the top with our 3 big trailing plants. Now the big trailing plants are the trailing begonia. We use the apricot trailing begonia. These are only young yet. We use the trailing fuchsia. This is a particularly nice one. Lanita pink. Has a lovely pink and lilac flower. Flowers like mad. And the other one is a trailing geranium. This is another nice sort of soft salmon pink. Okay, so these are going to go in a triangle. Okay, we're going to start with the trailing begonia on one side. Now, I always try to put these in a way that the trailing begonia and the trailing fuchsia need one plant space between them. Okay, The trailing begonia, when you put it in, always needs to have its leaves pointing out because that's telling you where the flowers are going to go. Okay? It's almost telling you which way to plant it. The fuchsia, that's going to sit in nicely with, again, one plant space between. And then the trailing geranium goes completely at the other side of the basket. So we've got that triangle. So now we've got 3 gaps. We've got the gap, 2 equal sized gaps between the fuchsia and the geranium and the begonia and the geranium, and a 1 plant size gap between these 2. Okay, so this is the easy bit now to finish off. In between the begonia and the fuchsia, I always like to put either the trailing verbena twister, which is that beautiful blue colour, or we get brachycoon, which comes in white or blue, a lovely daisy, very ferny leaf. On this one, we're going to put this beautiful diasia. This is a nice salmon diasia. Okay, so that will just, that's particularly useful if you're not using the orange begonia, we are this time, but if you were using, say, a white begonia or something else, you could use a different colour so the diasia doesn't match it, but this looks nice. So your diasia is sitting in between the begonia and the fuchsia, and then we need 2 plants either side. Now, Saphinias are probably the most popular trailing plant you can buy. These are beautiful hot pink. It's actually called hot rose. And this is a nice bluey pink. This is called deep lavender vein. These 2 look lovely opposite each other. So we're going to put those in. Again, always try and have the plant sort of facing out when you put it in. So what I always do is I always start with the bluer Saphinia. I always use a blue Saphinia or a bluey colour, which is this lavender one, and I use a pink one. So the blue goes against the lovely apricot begonia. Okay, and then opposite that, we're going to put the pink one. That's going to go against the salmon trailing geranium. Okie dokie. And then we just need 2 more plants. Now, I always think, right, we need real trailing now. We've got some beautiful big plants that are going to hang down the trail, but we want something that's going to cascade like an ivy almost. Now, there's loads of different options. There's Nepeta, which a lot of you will know. That's looks like an ivy and hangs to the floor. A lot of people don't like that. We've started to grow this one. It's only young yet. Silver Falls, fantastic plant. Like the Nepeta, but doesn't get quite as wild. Also, if you're doing reds and yellows, and this is a bright yellow foliage plant called Goldie, and it's Lysomachia. That again will hang down, looks lovely against the purples. It's not quite showing its full summer colour yet. On this occasion, because they're flowering, and these are looking nicer at the moment, we're going to use these. These are Bacopa. This is a large flower Bacopa, self-cleaning, so you don't need to deadhead or anything like that. These are going to go in, we use the white Bacopa, going to go against the pink Saphinia. I'll just put that in and then we'll show you in a minute. And then on the other side, we're going to use the pink Bacopa with the bluey Saphinia. Now, we keep to this rule because we know it works. You might like other colour schemes. And we always do baskets, we can do baskets of any colour. A lot of all white baskets, the white, silvers and greens are very popular these days. Now then, this basket is now full. So around, in this 14-inch basket, we have 1 large pelargonium, we have 1 basket plant in the centre to splurt through, and then we have 3 of the larger plants, and then we have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 8 round the sides, 1 in the centre, and the large geranium. Okay, so these baskets, that's a 14-inch basket. If that's watered in 2 weeks, that's going to look a completely different beast. It's going to be beautiful. Like I say, all these will be available on the web shop in the next few days, or you can just ring up and ask. We can make you an assortment of basket plants. They're $1.99 each, 4 for £6, or you can buy 15 for £20. The pelargoniums in the centre, they're $2.99 or 4 for £10. Now, like I say, we do loads of other baskets, and we do cheat a little bit, like I think I mentioned in the last video. So in January, we were putting the plugs, which are these, like I said before. They're your plugs. We were putting those plugs in, and we put 5 in a basket to produce that. So these baskets are now available. Again, they'll be going on sale very shortly. and they can be transferred into a wicker basket, something such as, that's a 14-inch wicker basket here. There we go. They can be transferred into those. That costs about £20 to have one of those. That will then develop and be a fantastic basket all summer. These are £12 as they are. And again, everything's in there that they need, but if you do put them in a bigger basket, you'll just get a bigger show. We also sell easy fill baskets. Easy fill, dead easy to do, because the latches just pop out. As you can see, the latch pops out, you get a fully grown plant, for example, this Sphagnum here. You put your compost in, obviously, and then rather than having to wrap it up and get it through the wire, you can push it either way. You've got a really big hole, a nice indented lip for it to sit on, and then once it sits on, all you do is push the little gate over, and it clips into place, done. And you just build up gradually. So that's nice and easy to do yourself at home. That's the easy fill basket. And if you're not feeling like you want to try all the different plants, you could just get some trailing begonias, or even just non-stop begonias, or busy lizzies, and they'll make a full ball. So they're lovely. So there we go. I hope that's helped you. We will be putting all the different ones on the website, and there will be an opportunity to buy a kit as well. All these together with everything that you need, so you can do this yourself at home. Okay, we are available for collections as well, so if you are desperate to get these before the weekend and we can't deliver them in time, just give us a call and you can collect them at a certain time securely from the gate. Okay, well thanks for that, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you later.